Hi. So I did my presentation on Norma McCorvey, better known for her role in Roe versus Wade. In 1969, she decided that she wanted to term her third pregnancy. She did not want to go ahead with it after having given up her two previous pregnancies to adoption. She went to her local abortion clinic and found that it had been closed. In speaking with her friend, she was told that Texas abortions at the time were only legal if the fetus was endangering the life of the mother. Adamant that she wanted an abortion, adamant that it should be legal for her to receive one, and that she should not have to go to a back alley. Her friend recommended that she speak with two attorneys who were looking for someone just to push those limits. Linda Coffey and Sarah Weddington were attorneys that met with Norma McCorvey to talk about the abortion laws. This was something that they were already looking into and were just needing someone with the right case to push that forward. May of 1970, they filed their first case in the Dallas District Court, citing that Texas abortion laws infringed on women's privacy rights, and filed against Henry Wade, who was the DA at the time and was in charge of enforcing abortion laws. The district court found in favor of McCorvey at that time, stating that the laws did infringe on on women's rights. However, they stated that they did not have the jurisdiction to stop Henry Wade from enforcing those laws. Henry Wade decided to appeal this to the Supreme Court and asked that they review it. January 22nd, 1973, the Supreme Court ruled 7-2 in favor of Jane Roe, stating the 14th Amendment did protect human rights, and stated that Texas abortion laws had infringed on those. With this, legal abortions rose to an estimated 1.6 million per year in the years following. The abortion that Jane Roe had fought so feverishly for, she never got to have. The initial filing was in 1970, and the Supreme Court ruling that approved or that made them legal was in 1973. Baby Roe was born in that time period. She did have the baby, and it was given up for adoption. After the Supreme Court case, Norma McCorvey came out from behind Jane Roe and revealed her identity. She started working at abortion clinics, giving speeches, and became a pro-choice advocate. She stood in this movement for a few decades, until about 1995, when she came out saying that she was a born-again Christian and had rethought her stance on abortions. She'd befriended a really strong evangelistic minister, Flip Benham, and in 2003, she actually filed to have the decision of Roe versus Wade overturned. She said that science had shown abortions left long-lasting negative effects on women, and it needed to be reviewed. This opened the door for several more cases to be filed and slowly chip away at the views in different at the different views of Roe versus Wade, at the different views the justices had seen. And in June of 2022, Roe versus Wade was overturned in a 5-4 decision, which triggered laws across the nation, making abortion illegal again. This happened 5 years after Norma McCorvey passed away. She was never able to see the outcome of the Roe versus Wade challenges, and on her deathbed actually stated that it was all a ruse, that she was paid to be pro-life, that her stance was always pro-choice, but for the money she changed her stance. On her deathbed is when she came clean. I chose her because whether it was pro-choice or pro-life, she stood up, especially in a time when abortions were taboo. It wasn't something that everybody was talking about. It wasn't everything that was just out there, and it wasn't okay. And not only did she do it in the U.S. District Court, but she even went as far as the Supreme Court. And after all of this, and after 50 years of saying who she was and what women should be allowed to do, came out, even if it was for money, pro-life. So I think it's just going to show the power of our voice, the power of a movement, and The power of believing in ourselves and believing in our why. Whether we have money, education, support, our why is enough. We are enough. That's what I take away from Norma McCorvey.